And welcome to the Hues of Ace, a podcast. My name is Isabel, and today we're going to be going into labels from the aspec community in general, and maybe some others as well in the broader LGBTQIA plus community. So a lot of people, before we start with that, a lot of people have asked me if this podcast is available on anything else other than YouTube. As I said before, currently it is not, because purely because my technological skills are crap. And if you see, if you're actually watching on YouTube right now, you can see the title that says "Made with Movie Maker," so it's not very professional at the moment. But again, if anyone has better computer skills than I do and knows how to put podcasts on any other platform, please let me know. Also, I've got one or two people ask me if it's possible to be a guest on the podcast. Absolutely. So please just let me know if you would like to come on for one of the episodes or request an episode, that kind of thing. So now that we've got that out of the way, let's start. So labels. I mean, a lot of people use labels to describe themselves, and labels can be very important to some people, but to other people they might not, and it's not helpful, and they don't like to put themselves in boxes, and it's just very restrictive. People might call themselves queer to signify that they're either not cis or not straight or both. And that's, for them, that's good enough. That sort of encompasses everything. That doesn't really get into things, especially if people are still questioning or they're not as comfortable yet with their identity, or they're very comfortable with it and that's just what they call themselves. Again, if there's anything you'd like to add, please let me know in the comments, and then I try my best the next episode or two episodes from now to address those. And it's always good to see it from other people's perspectives as well. Even if I don't mention it, I will read all the comments, so please just leave a comment, subscribe, see how. If you like it. If not, then of course, no obligation. So now I thought I'd go into different specific labels about the ACE spec and some others. So I'm just going to look through here. Here being my notes, because there's no way I can do this offhand, otherwise I'll forget everything. Yeah. So some people say they're ace when they mean demisexual, grey sexual, or another part of the asexual spectrum, and they use that as a sort of umbrella term for them. Or some people say I'm ace. As I mentioned before, I want to go into some specifics, so I will do that now. For those of you who haven't heard ace flux before, we're going to go through it, and also arrow flux. So ace flux means that you fluctuate between the asexual spectrum. So, for example, one week you might be asexual, the next month you might be more demisexual or lean towards grey sexuality. Again, if I'm wrong, please let me know. But that was the feel I got from the comment section on the wiki page, and the definition that I got from there as well. Again, arrow flux is the same thing, just with romantic attraction. Again. So we went through last time a little bit what cupiosexual means. I'll just reiterate that for people who maybe don't know. It means that you're asexual, but you still want a sexual relationship. So it's more of a micro label. Again, not all sex favorable asexuals or people who want a sexual relationship who are asexual call themselves this. This is just a micro label. But again, people use it. I think it's great. Moving on. There's also romantic, which is the same thing. Aromantic people who are wanting to be in a romantic relationship. Sorry, I can't speak today. And also, I just learned this word the other week. It's called egiosexual, where basically it means that they like it in theory. So, for example, they can read fan fiction about sex, they can read erotica and, things like that. Some might watch porn or masturbate, but they don't like it in practice. And I guess it could be considered a micro label because they are asexual, so they don't feel the sexual attraction, or they feel a little sexual attraction, and they would never want to have sex in practice, but they like the theory behind it. Again, this is just the definitions that I've heard, and I've follow a lot of aspec accounts on Tumblr, and that's where I got the definition from. So maybe it's not as accurate, or maybe that's only one person's description of it. And again, romantic attraction or sexual attraction, platonic attraction, sensual attraction, all of these things, aesthetic attraction as well, there's so many, work in different ways for different people. So just putting that out there. Also, there's a label called apothesexual, which means someone who is asexual but is sex repulsed. So perhaps they don't like the idea of sex, or they don't like the idea of them being part of a sexual act. They're just repulsed by sex in general, etc. Also, there's the same thing with apotheromantic, which is basically aromantic people who are repulsed by romance. Again, I'm not on the arospec, so I'm not going to talk too much about how that feels, because I don't feel that way myself. Just so you know. We're going to go over again grey sexual, which I've talked about in previous episodes as well. It means sort of the grey area between sexual attraction. So it's sort of you do feel sexual attraction, but maybe only rarely, or only under specific circumstances. So again, it fluctuates and it varies. Demisexual is when you only feel sexual attraction when you're bonded or have an emotional connection with someone. But again, if a woman, for example, is a lesbian and she has a strong connection to a man, or her best friend who happens to be a man, that doesn't mean that she's going to suddenly be sexually attracted to him. That it doesn't work that way. And also the same with if you have an emotional connection with your friend, and going with this example, they're both women, that doesn't necessarily mean that she'll find this person sexually attractive either. It's just when people do feel sexually attracted, it has to be with that connection and emotional bond. I'm sorry that was really a long-winded response. Please tell me if I'm not making sense. Of course, most of us know that sometimes people can be both aromantic and asexual. That's called aro-ace, or aromantic asexual. But I wanted to go more into that because sometimes there's something called oriented aro-ace or angled aro-ace. So I'm going to go with angled aro-ace, sorry, first. So A person who is angle arrow ace is a person who is both on the aspec and the arospec, but not exactly aromantic or asexual. They could be, I don't know, grey romantic, demisexual, and bisexual, for instance. And that would be a sort of third attraction, if you like. But also, oriented arrow ace is someone who is strictly aromantic and asexual, but they feel a certain attraction that's important for them to share as a third attraction. So, for example, platonic attraction, aesthetic attraction, and sensual attraction. So, what sensual attraction is, I haven't really talked about it as much, but what it is basically it means the idea that you want to hug someone, hold hands with someone, sometimes kiss would be considered sensual, but others regard that as more romantic or more sexual. It depends who you ask, it seems. But also, for instance, if your aesthetic attraction is so strong, you might find it important enough to put it into your identity. Again, I keep saying you. I don't know why. It's just in general. And I'm not explaining myself very well in this episode. Maybe I never do. Let me know. But again, I'm just finding out things for myself as well, and I think it's really important to have that representation so that everyone knows. Of course, there's internet, when you look it up, you can just type it in, but it's also nice to have someone who is oriented arrow ace, for instance, to talk about it with. So if you are, please let me know, and then maybe we can do an episode together. But yeah, that's what I kind of got from the definition of it. So let me know what you think. Another label that I don't think I've mentioned before, of course, is abrosexual. And what abrosexual is, it's a fluid sexual orientation. So that means they experience different sexual orientations. So, for example, 1 month you could be lesbian or gay, and another month you could be bisexual or pansexual, omnisexual, all of them. And some people have said they have a rotation of, say, 3. Some people say they feel them all. Not at once, obviously, but in time. But again, if there are any people who are abrosexual, please let me know, because I'm not really sure about how to define it, because I know what it is, but I'd just like to know more about it. I think it's very interesting. So please let me know. Again, there's abro-romantic, and it's the same thing, just with romantic orientation. And again, with abrosexual, just like with other things, you can have a different romantic orientation as well. So you could be grey romantic, for instance, and abrosexual as well, just like you can be grey romantic and lesbian or bisexual, etc. So that was very interesting to look up some of these, because again, I'm panromantic asexual, so anything else apart from biromantic asexual, because I've identified with that as well, and I did identify with bisexual and pansexual, so I know most about those. And I can relate to lesbians, for instance, because I do like girls as well as others. So that's really where I'm at. Also relate to asexual experiences, because obviously I am asexual. But I don't want to get anything wrong. I'm not here to offend people. I'm here to make a more accepting, open community. And I'm just trying my best like everyone else, so please just let me know respectfully if there's anything I've missed or anything I've said that's not entirely correct. So Next week we'll be talking about questioning being on the ace spec. So if someone is thinking they could be asexual but they're not sure, or they are asexual but they could be demisexual instead, or grey sexual, etc., then might be an interesting episode for you. Who knows? And we'll go over such things as different types of attraction, like we touched on today. So we'll see how that goes. But again, thank you so much for listening. Again, this has been a really fun experience, and thank you for your support. See you next time. Bye!